Hello everyone and welcome back to Next Gen Gaming for the final round of Swiss here at the Star Wars Unlimited 4K at SCG CON Richmond. We have an exciting match for you here in the final round. It is Vader Green versus Han Green. We have Ryan DiCrisi on the left piloting Vader Green. And then on the right it is Jeremy Skelton. And he is piloting Han Green. Both of these players find themselves at the feature table for a win and in match. It all comes down to this. For both of these players, a win should lock a spot in the top 16, but a loss would be the end of the run here at the Star Wars Unlimited 4K. A pretty great story for Jeremy up to this point. He lost his first two matches, started 0-2, and he has won 5 in a row to get himself in a position to still have a shot at the top 16. Can Jeremy finish it off, win 6 in a row, and lock a spot, or will Ryan stand in his way, end the winning streak, and put Vader Green into the top 16? Ryan starts the game with the initiative. He will play a seasoned shore trooper, and Jeremy wasting no time, an early Han action ability being used, getting an extra resource, and we are going to see a turn 1 resupply for Jeremy. Resupply is just so good in Han Green. A turn 1 or turn 2 resupply can lead to a turn 3 U-Wing reinforcement or 7-cost Han unit, which can be extremely difficult for opposing decks to deal with. Now here on turn 2, with the initiative, Ryan will play his own resupply, so he is up to 4 resources now, and then Jeremy will play an Echo-based defender into the ground arena. Ryan just claims the initiative. And we move on to the next turn. Ryan will take the first action, and with that first action, he is going to play open fire, immediately defeating the Echo-based defender, clearing things up in the ground arena. And Jeremy is going to use the Han action ability again, bringing him up to 6 resources. That means we can see Han this turn be deployed. Ryan attacks Jeremy's base for 2 with the seasoned shore trooper. And there is Han Solo being deployed on Jeremy's side. And Ryan is just going to claim the initiative. Does Jeremy have one of the 7-cost plays in his hand? I don't think so. He's actually going to use Energy Conversion Lab to play Chewbacca, give him ambush. And Chewbacca will ambush the seasoned shore trooper. And then Jeremy will attack Ryan's base for 4 damage with Han Solo, getting an extra resource, but unfortunately he will not be able to take advantage of the full 7 resources. And we will move on to the next turn. Jeremy will have to defeat 2 resources. He does lay down 1 resource, so he will go back down to 6 in total. Ryan once again with the initiative. And Ryan is going to start the turn with a Viper probe droid. He will take a look at Jeremy's hand. He sees an Echo-based defender and Millennium Falcon. And the first action of the turn for Jeremy, another 4 damage into Ryan's base with Han Solo. That is going to allow him to get another resource. The top card of the deck becoming a ready resource. And then Ryan will use the Darth Vader action ability to put 1 damage onto Chewbacca and 1 damage onto Jeremy's base. And before Ryan has a chance to defeat Chewbacca. Jeremy will come across the board for 3 damage with the Wookiee. And Ryan is going to play his own Sentinel, putting a cell block guard into the ground arena. And here comes that Millennium Falcon that we just saw a few moments ago. 3 more damage to Ryan's base with the Falcon, 14 in total. And Jeremy will also put the Echo base defender down into the ground arena. Now, for those of you that are interested, you can take a look at both of these players' deck lists. The links will be posted down in the description below. Jeremy has a great board presence right now, and he needs to keep up with this pressure because once we get to the late game, Ryan will have the advantage, no doubt about it. If you take a look at Ryan's list, 3 copies of Darth Vader, 2 copies of Emperor Palpatine, 2 Reinforcement Walker, and 2 Devastator, all in the main deck. So once we get to the late game, it is going to be very difficult for Jeremy to get across the finish line. But to start us off on this turn, Ryan is going to play an Overwhelming Barrage. He will give Cell Block Guard +2/+2, and that is going to allow Ryan to deal 5 damage, divided as he chooses to Jeremy's units. He will deal 4 damage to the Falcon. So the Falcon is defeated, and then 1 additional damage to Chewbacca. And now Ryan has a 5/5 Sentinel in the ground arena. And Jeremy has to decide how he wants to deal with that cell block guard. Now, of course, he is only a 5/5 for the remainder of this phase. And it looks like Jeremy is going to attack cell block guard with Han Solo, getting an extra resource, but that leaves the door open for Ryan to use the Darth Vader action ability and defeat Han Solo. Han took 5 damage back from attacking cell block guard, and then the action ability on Darth Vader was able to finish Han Solo. And 1 additional damage to Jeremy's base. That is a momentum swinging play. The action is back over to Jeremy. He has 8 available resources, but only 1 card in his hand. And Jeremy is going to go ahead and attack the cell block guard with Chewbacca. That will defeat both units, and Ryan will attack the Echo Base Defender with Viper Probe Droid, defeating both of those units, and then Jeremy will play another copy of Chewbacca. That was the 1 card in his hand. Ryan deploys Vader, Jeremy claims, and then Ryan will defeat Chewbacca with 1 attack from Darth Vader. Jeremy will start the next turn with the initiative, and he is in top deck mode. We'll see if he found anything to help in this situation. Ryan has the leader Vader on the board, and what a great find for Jeremy. Han Solo coming into play, and he will ambush into Vader. And then in response, Ryan plays Palpatine to defeat Han Solo. And I apologize for the camera malfunction. It appears as though someone bumped into the camera, causing an earthquake type effect that may have been picked up on the Richter scale. But as it stands, Emperor Palpatine on the board for Ryan, and Jeremy's board completely cleared. Just 2 cards in hand for Jeremy, and he needs to find a way to deal 16 more damage here in game 1. He is going to pay 6 and play a Rogue Squadron Skirmisher, but he does not have a unit that costs 2 or less in his discard pile, so he will not get the benefit of the win played ability. Ryan will play a Viper Probe Droid, taking a look at the last card in Jeremy's hand. It is a Waylay, and Jeremy will go ahead and play the Waylay, returning Emperor Palpatine to Ryan's hand. Darth Vader action ability used. 1 damage to the skirmisher and Jeremy's base. And then Ryan also playing a seasoned shore trooper, which does have the benefit of +2 power right now. Ryan does have 6 or more resources. He's currently sitting at 9. Jeremy will start with the initiative, and he is going to go 4 damage to Ryan's base with the skirmisher. So 18 damage on Ryan's base, but we know that Ryan has an immediate answer for the skirmisher. He still has Palpatine, and that is exactly what Ryan will do here. He will replay Palpatine. 6 damage to the skirmisher. And in response, Jeremy will play home 1. He will get back a Millennium Falcon. So Jeremy realizing that he has got to apply as much pressure as he can. And Ryan will use the Darth Vader action ability once again. 1 damage to home 1 and 1 damage to Jeremy's base. And then Jeremy will attack Ryan's base with the Millennium Falcon. That will allow him to restore 1 damage from his base. So he's back to 5 damage on. 21 damage on Ryan's base. And Ryan will take advantage of the 2 ready units in the ground arena. Seasoned Shore Trooper attacking Jeremy's base for 4 damage. And then 3 damage to Jeremy's base with the Viper Probe Droid. As we move on to the next turn, it is currently a battle of ground versus space. Ryan has control of the ground arena, and Jeremy has control of the space arena. And with his first action, Jeremy is going to attack Ryan's base for 7 damage with home 1, restoring 2 from his own base. But here comes the Devastator. Devastator will absolutely demolish home 1. And with home 1 defeated, Jeremy's plans have come screeching to a halt. Jeremy can no longer just attack with Millennium Falcon for game. There is a 10-10 Sentinel unit in space now for Ryan. So in response, Jeremy will play another Han Solo, and he will ambush and defeat Palpatine once again. But Ryan does have an answer for Han Solo. He has Seasoned Shore Trooper and Viper Probe Droid both ready. So Ryan will attack Han Solo with Shore Trooper. That's 4 damage to Han Solo. Jeremy claims the initiative, and Ryan will attack and defeat Han with the Viper Probe Droid. Jeremy will start this next turn with the initiative, and he has to once again try and find a way to deal just 2 more damage to Ryan's base. The Devastator is, of course, a very big problem. 2 swings with Devastator would defeat Jeremy. So Jeremy, of course, has to find a way to deal 2 damage and make sure that he is not just straight up losing to Devastator over the next 2 turns. The only real answer that Jeremy has for the Devastator is Waylay. And I don't think Waylay is a bad play in this situation because it returns the Devastator to hand, and with the Millennium Falcon still in play for Jeremy, it almost would force Ryan to replay the Devastator unless he had cheaper removal for the Falcon. But Jeremy is going to play U-Wing Reinforcement, and he could find a Bright Hope off the U-Wing Reinforcement. That would at least put a Sentinel in the space arena for Jeremy, which would slow the Devastator down. And Jeremy has found a Bright Hope. Bright Hope, Battlefield Marine, and Greedo will come into play off the U-Wing Reinforcement. And now if Jeremy does not have a response to Devastator, and he only has 2 available resources left this turn, so he cannot play Waylay, Jeremy is going to have to put his focus in the ground arena to try and get that last little bit of damage in. Ryan attacks the Bright Hope with Devastator, defeating Bright Hope and getting 4 damage through with the Overwhelm. So that's 14 damage on Jeremy's base. 2 damage back onto the Devastator. And Ryan still has 11 resources that he can spend this turn. The action back over to Jeremy, and with his final 2 resources, he will play a Mon Mothma, which will allow him to search the top 5 cards of his deck for a Rebel card. And he is able to find a Leia Organa, which is a very solid pickup. That will answer the Devastator for next turn. And Ryan puts down another Palpatine. And now he has to decide where the 6 damage goes. He will deal 3 damage to the Battlefield Marine and 3 damage to Mon Mothma, defeating both units. Jeremy claims the initiative, and Ryan uses the Darth Vader action ability to defeat Greedo and deal an additional damage to Jeremy's base. 15 damage on Jeremy's base now, which means 1 attack from the Devastator could finish the game. Now we know Jeremy has Leia in hand. Leia could exhaust the Devastator. Waylay would be the only other option,
first things first.
as Bright Hope would still allow damage to go through with the Overwhelm on Devastator. So Jeremy does play the Leia, exhausting Devastator, and here comes Ryan attacking with Palpatine. 6 damage to Jeremy's base. That is 21 damage. And I still do not believe he has a long-term answer for Devastator. And now with Palpatine in play as well, 1 attack from either of those units next turn finishes the game. Jeremy needs to try and put as many units out as possible. And he needs a Sentinel once again. He's going to need Sentinel units, but he also needs to, again, find a way to deal that damage, and the only way he's going to do that is by putting multiple units out on the board and be able to squeak in 1 more attack. It's been a great game. Both players certainly feeling the pressure in this match, knowing what is at stake, a spot in the top 16. So Jeremy really trying to think this through and make sure there is no way he can get himself out of this tough situation and find 2 more damage. When Devastator was played in this game, it really just seemed to turn everything around. Jeremy got so close But Devastator just completely stops home one and everything that Jeremy is trying to do in space. It looks like the three cards that Jeremy has in his hand are Bright Hope, Surprise Strike, and Home One. Surprise Strike doesn't really do anything in this situation. The Home One could bring back the Echo Base Defender, so Jeremy could have a Sentinel in the ground arena. But then he is not stopping the Devastator. Ryan could just claim the initiative, attack with the Devastator, and win, knowing that Jeremy would be out of resources and wouldn't be able to do anything else on this turn. He has the Bright Hope as well, so Jeremy could play the Bright Hope, get a Sentinel in space, and return Leia, which would allow him to exhaust a unit next turn. But then again, Ryan could just claim the initiative and attack with Palpatine right away next turn, and that would finish the game as well. So one more action for Jeremy. He will play Bright Hope, return Leia, draw a card, but no way out of this situation. Ryan will take game one here in round 8 at SCG CON Richmond. The players are ready for game 2. Game 2 could be the deciding game for Ryan as he tries to close this match out in 2 games and lock a spot in the top 16. Or will we have Jeremy take game 2 and force a deciding game 3 here in the final round of Swiss here at the Star Wars Unlimited 4K at SCG CON Richmond. Now, looking at Jeremy's sideboard, the Change of Heart could certainly make an impact in this game. Change of Heart on Devastator seems pretty good. Jeremy also has 3 copies of Reinforcement Walker in the sideboard. That could help bolster his late game. And then on Ryan's side, I'm not really sure any changes are needed. Maybe bring in the extra copy of Reinforcement Walker, but things went pretty well for him in the first game. So to start us off in game 2, Jeremy with the initiative. He's going to play a Spark of Rebellion. He's going to take a look at Ryan's hand and choose a card to discard. We see Cell Block Guard, Resupply, Super Laser Technician, and Darth Vader. So it looks like one way or another, Ryan is going to be able to ramp in terms of his resources, and Jeremy has chosen to discard the Super Laser Technician, which means we are very likely to see a resupply on turn 2 for Ryan, and absolutely, Ryan's going to play the resupply, go up to 4 resources, and Jeremy will follow up with an Echo Base Defender in the ground arena. Now, I do want to point something out, and it is almost a crime that it has taken me this long to do so, but Jeremy is the first player we have seen with a Showcase leader here at the feature table today. And my goodness, that Han Showcase looks so good. But on to turn 4. Ryan will start with the initiative. And he is going to play a Cell Block Guard into the ground arena. That will slow the Echo Base Defender down, but a quick response. Here comes Waylay for Jeremy, returning the Cell Block Guard to Ryan's hand. And then Ryan will use the Darth Vader action ability, 1 damage onto Echo Base Defender and 1 damage to Jeremy's base. But then Jeremy will attack Ryan's base for 4 total damage with the Echo Base Defender. Now that does give Ryan the initiative once again here on turn 4. And to start things out, Ryan is going to play a Traitorous and take control of the Echo Base Defender. And then Jeremy is going to play another Sentinel into the ground arena. This time it is Chewbacca. And Ryan will use the Darth Vader action ability once again. 1 damage to Chewbacca, 1 damage to Jeremy's base, 2 damage on now. Now, Jeremy has just claimed the initiative, and Ryan has to decide whether or not he wants to attack Chewbacca or just pass. He will pass here and end the turn. Chewbacca does have 1 damage on him currently. There is no dice indicating that, but he does have 1 damage. And that is very likely why you saw Ryan choose not to attack with the Echo Base Defender, because Chewbacca has 5 HP remaining, and the Echo Base Defender only deals 4 damage.
3. Oh, yeah. You have my Sentinel.
And the
He has a point of damage on it. He does have a point.
Traitor Echo Base Defender on the opposite side of the board, playing some mind games with Jeremy. Jeremy forgetting that his Echo Base Defender is over there and does have Sentinel.
How exciting.
And he is going to use the Han Solo action ability, get an extra resource. And it was a risky play not going ahead and taking out the Echo Base Defender with Chewbacca. And now we see Darth Vader come down onto the board. And he is going to be able to ambush Chewbacca and defeat him. And Ryan will also get to search the top 10 cards of his deck.
He's getting jiggy with it.
And he's going to get to play some villainy cards with combined cost 3 or less.
Let's get a probe and a TIE Fighter.
And it looks like Ryan will play Viper Probe Droid and TIE Fighter off of the Darth Vader ability. He gets to take a look at Jeremy's hand. We see a Millennium Falcon, Han Solo, and Reinforcement Walker, so it is confirmed. Jeremy does bring in Reinforcement Walker out of the sideboard.
I'll ready him.
And Darth Vader does ambush into Chewbacca, defeating Chewbacca, taking 3 damage back.
All the graveyard in this game, or just the discard pile? What's going on? I think it's just the discard pile.
And unfortunately for Jeremy, his Echo Base Defender still sitting on the other side of the board. And Jeremy is going to play Han Solo, wanting to ambush the Darth Vader, but again, the
Yeah, that's why I was very confused.
the traitorous Echo Base Defender has played some mind games on Jeremy, and Jeremy has to ambush the Echo Base Defender instead with Han Solo. And then we see Ryan deploying Darth Vader.
You've seen the gym. You're gonna pass.
And Jeremy has chosen to pass here. Keep in mind that he has not deployed Leader Han yet.
What is that? Oh, it's a flip on.
So he's trying to work around the ready Darth Vader.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Tune and kill.
And Darth Vader will attack and take out the 7-cost Han unit. And here comes the
I will take initiative.
deploy for Jeremy. Han Solo leader unit into the ground arena. And Jeremy will attack and take out Darth Vader, getting an extra resource.
I already took initiative.
Ryan was able to claim the initiative after the Han Solo deploy.
Oh boy.
And I have a good feeling I would probably be willing to make a bet that Ryan is not going to let the Han Solo leader unit stick around very long. Jeremy does have to defeat 2 resources, so after he defeats 2 resources, he will go back down to 7 total resources. And then that first action of the turn will go over to Ryan.
Probe into Han Solo.
And he is immediately going to make the trade. Viper Probe Droid will attack and defeat Han Solo. Now the action back over to Jeremy. And Jeremy plays a Rogue Squadron Skirmisher, which will ambush and defeat Darth Vader. And he is going to get Leia back from the discard pile. So Leia goes back into Jeremy's hand.
Take the initiative.
Ryan will attack Jeremy's base for 2 with the TIE Fighter, 4 damage on each base. Jeremy claiming the initiative. Ryan will play a cell block guard into the ground arena and then use the Darth Vader action ability to deal 1 more damage and defeat the skirmisher, and 1 damage to Jeremy's base. 5 damage on Jeremy's base now, and Ryan will pass after that action. It has been a bit of a slower start for Jeremy in this game. At this stage in game 1, he had around 14 damage on Ryan's base, and at this point he only has 4 damage on Ryan's base. And again, it is a dangerous game for Jeremy to be playing, going toe-to-toe with Vader here into the late game. But here comes a pretty big threat for Jeremy. He's going to play a reinforcement walker. He'll take a look at the top card, and he is going to draw that card. So reinforcement walker coming out of the sideboard. We'll see if it makes an impact for Jeremy here in game 2. And Ryan is going to play his own 8-cost unit, Emperor Palpatine, into play. 6 damage to the reinforcement walker. Jeremy just claims the initiative, and Ryan will finish off the walker with cell block guard, making the trade. Both units defeated, and just like that, Jeremy's big threat annihilated, and he is back to no units on his board.
What can I get punished for here for doing this? I don't want to find out.
Ryan does deal 2 more damage to
My brain can't.
Jeremy's base with the TIE Fighter. 7 damage on Jeremy's base, and just 4 damage on Ryan's base. We will move on to the next turn.
Actually, what am I at? 4, 8, 9. Yeah, we'll do that. Alright.
Does Jeremy have a Han Solo to ambush Palpatine off the board? He certainly does. Han Solo into play, will ambush and defeat Palpatine. And in response, Ryan will play a Ruthless Raider for the first time in this match. 2 damage to Han Solo and 2 damage to Jeremy's base. And then Jeremy will play a Mon Mothma, search the top 5 cards of his deck for a Rebel card.
That's my girl.
And unfortunately, it is a complete whiff for Jeremy. He does not find a Rebel card off of Mon Mothma. And then Ryan uses the Darth Vader action ability. 1 damage to Mon Mothma, 1 damage to Jeremy's base.
And I'll attack you for 2.
Jeremy has claimed the initiative. Ryan open fires the Han Solo to defeat Han. And another 2 damage to Jeremy's base with the TIE Fighter.
Pass turn.
And then Ryan will pass the turn. This is most certainly not the spot that Jeremy wants to be in. We are officially in the late game. Only 4 damage on Ryan's base, 12 damage on Jeremy's base. And considering that he is running the Energy Conversion Lab, he has just 13 HP remaining. Energy Conversion Lab is not something that is super common with Han Green. Generally, the Han decks are running the 30 HP bases. And to start this turn, Jeremy with the initiative, he is going to play a U-Wing reinforcement. And he is certainly in need of some reinforcements at this stage. Let's see if he can find some reinforcements that will help turn the game in his favor. And he is going to play Bright Hope and Echo Base Defender The Bright Hope will return Mon Mothma to Jeremy's hand and allow him to draw an additional card. So he is able to gum up the Space Arena a little bit with the Sentinel. And here comes Overwhelming Barrage onto Ruthless Raider. +2/+2 on Ruthless Raider. And just like that, 6 damage to Bright Hope, and Bright Hope is off the board. And now Jeremy has to play Waylay onto the Ruthless Raider for damage control. Did not want to take the 6 damage that was going to come through with Ruthless Raider. So after the Waylay is played, Ryan will attack Jeremy's base for 2 with the TIE Fighter. And then he will replay the Ruthless Raider after Jeremy claims the initiative. 2 damage onto Echo Base Defender and another 2 damage to Jeremy's base. 16 damage on Jeremy's base. Still just 4 damage on Ryan's base. And Jeremy with a lone Echo Base Defender as his only unit. Both players have a plethora of resources. And to start the next turn with the initiative, Jeremy will play Change of Heart, and he is going to take control of the Ruthless Raider for the remainder of this phase. Again, Jeremy just trying to do some damage control in this situation. 9 damage away from the game being over. And Ryan will take the TIE Fighter and attack Jeremy's base for 2 once again. That TIE Fighter has put in a ton of work here in Game 2.
22. A long way to go.
Jeremy will attack Ryan's base for 4 damage. Finally able to get some more damage on Ryan's base, and then Ryan will put down a Sentinel in the ground arena in response, playing the Cell Block Guard. And Jeremy going to play the Mon Mothma again, this time hoping to find a Rebel card. And it looks like he will take the Battlefield Marine, so he has gained a card from Mon Mothma this time around. And here comes Ryan's own Reinforcement Walker. He will draw that top card. And now a massive threat in the ground arena for Ryan. Jeremy will take the Ruthless Raider that he currently has on his side of the board. And he will attack and defeat the TIE Fighter that has been so good for Ryan.
6, huh? 6 is so many.
Ryan will just claim the initiative.
He does 6. Oh, yeah. He does 6. 6, 6, 6. Pirated Starfighter. You can have that back.
And Jeremy plays a Pirated Starfighter, another interesting include in this Han deck. And that is a neat little combo between Change of Heart and Pirated Starfighter. You can play the Change of Heart, take control of an opposing unit, and then you can play the Pirated Starfighter and bounce that unit back to the opponent's hand.
I already took initiative.
So Jeremy uses the Han action ability to get an extra resource, and that is going to allow him to use the epic action on Energy Conversion Lab and play Battlefield Marine, giving the Marine ambush and ambushing into the Cell Block Guard, both units defeated. The initiative belongs to Ryan. And he has a Reinforcement Walker in the ground arena. But Jeremy does have a Sentinel acting as a roadblock in Echo Base Defender. And here comes a big-time Overwhelming Barrage for Ryan. +2/+2 to the Reinforcement Walker. That's 8 power and 8 damage coming through to Jeremy's units. That will wipe Jeremy's board. What a play for Ryan. And now Jeremy has to find a way to stop that Reinforcement Walker, or this game is done. Jeremy will play a U-Wing reinforcement, and he has got to find a Sentinel unit for the ground arena.
Well, these decks are just grindy.
Sentinel or bust with this U-Wing reinforcement for Jeremy.
That's 8 now. Correct.
The next action that Ryan would take would be attack with the reinforcement walker for game.
That doesn't do anything.
Has Jeremy found a Sentinel?
Nope.
The suspense. He has not. Handshake given, and Ryan has done it. Ryan has locked a spot into the top 16. Jeremy's comeback run falls just short. What a great performance from both of these players. What a show. And Ryan will find himself in the top 16 here at the Star Wars Unlimited 4K at SCG CON Richmond. Let's take a quick look at the top 16 here at the Richmond 4K. Jordan Hanning ending up your #1 seed with Iden Blue. What a run for Jordan. We see that Sabine showing up in numbers in the top 16. 5 Sabine lists, 3 Vaders, 2 Han, 2 Krennic. We've got 1 Luke, and another big surprise, only 1 Boba. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out and who will take home the trophy here in Richmond. Thank you so much to everyone for joining me here today for the Round 8 feature match. Stay tuned for the top 16 match coming soon. May the Force be with you, and until next time, take care.